Next, Carlos Pereira.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the amendments by my colleagues to the Governor's address. My colleagues in the opposition. First, the Honorable Governor has spoken of Saimpura, Goa, and specifically it's mentioned under item number 7 that they're having the engagement of the bureaucracy with the community for transformation of every Goan. My humble submission is, how do you expect the bureaucrats who come from Delhi and who come on short visits here, I call them visits, but they're only for a short period of time, who don't even know the local language, how would they effectively interact unless you give them a training of the Konkani language? And they will be able to effectively know the sentiments of the people. Previously, when we had officers who came, they knew the language, they studied, they took pains. When आज ते येतात ते सगळे भायरसून येतात तांकां कांय खबर ना ते फकत येतात हॉलिडे करतात 3 वर्स जाले ते वयतात and that is how we are having the government being run. All this is being pushed down the line to the officers here. This is one thing which we need to have them part of the system. There are very good officers. I know there are some who are very good, some who are totally useless. But those good officers can give good support to the government and to the entire machinery if they can actually directly interact and know the problems of the people. Sarkar Tumche Dari, you all had this program. Nothing is spoken in the governor's address about what was achieved. I know that they went village to village or constituency in constituency, having big melas. People were called, people came with a lot of expectations. Nothing happened there. Not even one issue was resolved. And they were told, come to this office and come to that office. People were highly disappointed. There's nothing mentioned about this, what was achieved by it, except this grand fair and fair. And I suspect that that was something as a motivational factor which they were using as an election propaganda. Nothing else I could say about it. You speak of garbage, clean and healthy Goa. But we are seeing garbage being littered all across the state. Not only in my constituency, we have people in Aldana constituency who are not in Aldana. There may be a very small percentage of people who are dumping garbage on the roadside. But we have people coming through our constituency. There are no proper demarcations of sites. We are also having the Goa Non-Biodegradable Control Act 1985. There's nothing mentioned about the implementation of this act in the governor's speech. The governor's address does not take care of showing what the government is doing except showing some figures and expenditures of money. We require garbage bins to be put in place. We require identification of places where it will be. Our Aldana village panchayat itself is stuck, is unable to give construction licenses because it doesn't have an MRF facility. There is, and if there is a board put up not to throw garbage, that's the place people will throw the garbage. So these kind of things and education for the people which is needed at the grassroots is very important. We need to also provide free dustbins to the village panchayats, and the village panchayats can in turn provide dustbins to the houses so that they can collect and keep it for the collection. GSIDC, we had a grand inauguration of our High Court building, and I always have a very high impression and believe that the GSIDC is a specialized body, a vehicle to have quality infrastructure being done. But unfortunately, after our recent High Court building, which was inaugurated earlier last year, if you remember, a false ceiling of the High Court room only came down crashing. This reminds me that when the stadium was constructed there, at the time of the press conference before the inaugural matches, someone who was standing behind the door fell down with the door. So this is the sad state of affairs which GSIDC is doing work, and I think something needs to be done. We also speak about water supply which is being made available. We know that water supply is a basic feature of life. Right to water is a fundamental right. We need to provide water to everyone. The governor's speech speaks about you are ready to provide water to MOPA. MOPA is being given preference to us. We are the people who are there in our constituency, places like Kalvim, Pomburpa, Olauli, Ekoshin, Ukasai, we are not getting water. There's no proper water. I'm not saying even for a day. They're not getting water for 2-3 days. And water is being made available to these kind of places, which is very sad. And it's a reflection that the government is not very serious about the woes of the people. Electricity Department, I had mentioned this in a question which I had asked. The Honorable Minister was pleased to answer that. And that is very important, I want to say, about toilet facility for the center over there, sub-office which is there at Gawar. I will just read to the House what is the answer. I asked about this, whether the government is aware that the section office does not have toilet and also storeroom to store the equipment. And the answer given to me was, the section office does have toilet and storeroom, but the same are in deteriorated condition and require repairs. So you can imagine if the staff is not getting a proper toilet, not proper facilities, and you're talking of open defecation and all that free, where you expect them to go in the jungles? So you have forgotten to look at the basic amenities for your own staff, and you're giving tall statements and figures in the governor's address, which is very sad.
Continue.
There is no mention about the 3 free cylinders which was being promised time and again. If you remember that the government made promises after promises about 3 free cylinders. Till date, we have not seen any notification. I had already stated that price would be hiked, and then afterwards from 2 they will say 1 more is given free. Even then I said there will be riders, that everyone would not get free cylinders. Till today, nothing is mentioned, there's no reference about it. As far as women are concerned, there are a lot increasing assaults on women, and this has brought shame on our otherwise beautiful and peaceful state. The charismatic tourism minister would need to take positive steps to improve the quality of tourists and ensure safety of women. I will tell you my own personal view that I have seen, as a lawyer and as a public prosecutor, most of the cases, serious cases, were not done by Goans. They were people who were from outside Goa. If you look at this kind of touts who have entered here in Goa in the tourism sector and destroying the name of Goa in tourism, are these people who are coming here trying to make a fast buck at the cost of our people, and finally they're fleeing away. When there's a crime, you will see it's they who are the main perpetrators. Of course, there may be a small percentage of our people, but you go there, go incognito, don't have to go with a car and just walk down that road, and you will realize what they're trying to call you for, what they're trying to sell you. It is all what we don't want here in Goa. And they are not our people. They are people who have come here on short-term, fast money measure. I think we need to change this kind of perception, get rid of such people. Also, there are many complaints about the police. And I have recordings where the police, the traffic police, though they do a good job otherwise, they are very, very particular to stop any vehicle which is a tourist vehicle or with a yellow number plate. I don't see why they have some anathema or they have some kind of a mental setting in their mind that they must stop them, catch something, and if you can't, last probably you will ask them, do you have pollution certificate? When we have traveled to other states, I will tell you my experience. When we were stopped, we had everything shown. And then I myself asked the police officer, why did you stop? He said, in Goa you stop our people, why should we not stop you? See, kind of thing which we get when we suffer. So it is a very bad image. People who have gone away from Goa have gone back with bad memories. We should stop that, and we should not allow these kind of things to prevail. And I think that the governor has forgotten to mention these things or has chosen not to mention. About mining, we always hear the promise of resumption of mining. Only when election is coming, we are talking about mining being resumed. Last year, the government made a statement on the floor of the House of forming a mining corporation. 3 months later, around December, mining corporation was formed. We never heard anything about it after that. Mining has not been resumed, nor have we heard any steps being taken. People are stuck, trucks are rotting, trucks are rusting and business is dead, people are in debts, and I think the government is not even looking at their plight. And every time, again, the next election, they said, we will start the mining. Nothing comes. And what about our roads? The governor has not mentioned anything of hot mixing and the washing out of the roads. The concreting of the roads, this is not, at least the washing has taken place, washing out has taken place now. The concreting of the roads was done previously, before the elections, and that could be in the governor's speech. The roads are cracking. The roads are being opened up for the purpose of repairing. They are closing sections right now in front of the military, I think it's 2 STC in Bamboli. They have closed the section of the highway and we are going by the side service lane. Why? Because that is in a bad state. How can this be allowed? I can understand 2-3 years later, within 6 months, these roads are in such bad state and people are suffering accidents, injuries, spinal injuries too. This is very bad. I think the government has to wake up, not only when things happen and an accident takes place, but immediately government should. We are also seeing increase in price of petrol and diesel, increase in price of commodities, but there's no increase in the money of DSS or Griha Aadhar. I think the people are waiting for this because they feel that with every increase and the life becoming more expensive, there's no mention of matching increase which the governor has spoken to make this feasible for these poor people who want and who gain with this. I would have expected the governor's address to be truthful on issues plaguing Goa. Rather, in my view, it is a certificate to pat the government on its back despite glaring shortcomings. Thank you.